This meeting should prove to be very interesting. I assume Masako briefed you on her preferred outcome. Good on you. If it were up to me, I'd have shut down Project Dominion a long time ago. I knew it was a grave security risk, and look what happened. Completely. I understand the success it can bring for the corporation, but my only concern here is security. It's not that the board majority fails to see the dangers. It's that they believe we can overcome them. That hubris could easily bring this corporation down one day. I only hope it won't be on my watch. It's not often, but yes. And I'm not the only board member that initially voted against moving forward with the research. I suppose you're right. As long as I'm fully aware of the risks, I can properly account for them. My first priority will be to get the board and all security members set up with shielding as soon as possible. Plus, if we vote to acquire Infinity Ltd, we're about to add a significant workload onto my team. The last thing I want to deal with are any more incidents this new neuroamp might cause. I imagine we're looking at months of work. Infinity Ltd is obviously not known for their security. I only hope that Masako and the others will be patient with the process. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some preparations to make. We'll be announcing Ularu's termination of employment at this meeting, so I need to have security ready to escort her off the premises.
So much work to do.
If you need something, make it quick. I'd like to make sure my arguments are solid before this meeting. You heard correct. I've every reason to believe that Infinity Ltd is the Pandora's box of corporations. I can guarantee that Infinity Ltd was up to more than just the current charges. The process of finding and following up on all those threads won't be easy. I refuse to be blindsided by another corporation's past, so this is going to take a lot of time and patience. All right, I could use the entertainment. Tell me why Infinity is a good asset. Have you been spending too much time with Lyndon? There's more to this than just credits. If it was anyone other than Infinity, I assure you it would. I'm starting to understand what you're saying. Huh. Well, what do you know? I think you just convinced me. Talent like yours belongs in the courtroom. Unfortunately, half my department's been poring over documentation, while the other half is writing up what legal guidance they can. Nice to know someone is. Everyone's too busy praising its completion to think about the dangers it could represent. First off, if I find out you used that device on me, I will tie you up in court on whatever charges I can conjure for the rest of your life. Second, that tech is one major human rights violation that no legal team wants to fight. I'll do whatever I can to make sure it's either severely delayed or collects dust in storage. Because the external neuroamps are built to help the user on a personal level. They aid in reason, communication, confidence, all things that can make the difference in a person's self-image. And yes, they can be abused, but that's why there are laws regarding improper usage. Tech like this only has good applications when you have complete control over who uses it. Once that tech hits a market, open or private, that control is gone. And not only that, the tech is out there to be advanced or modified by anyone who might get their hands on it. Well, I'm both glad and surprised to hear the one person who has one say that. Masako is lucky to have you at her disposal, you know? You may be the greatest asset, aside from the internal neuroamp, that Ryujin has. This exchange has been surprisingly insightful, but now I really do need to get back to my notes.
If operations starts to bore you, let me know. You'd make a perfect lab rat for the R&D team. And how's my favorite patient doing? Not seeing any temporal memory flashes or losing time, I hope. That's great. I'd say Project Dominion is ready for legitimate human trials in that case. One step closer to seeing market approval. Genevieve is going to be so excited. So, tell me what you think of the neuroamp. I hope you're not actually suggesting that the technology I spent years working on and perfecting never sees the light of day. This is groundbreaking work. My life's work. Of course I do. But there are amazing things Dominion can be used for, too. Humanity has always created dangers, and we've always policed them as well. The internal neuroamp will be no different. It just needs to find its place. Fine, fine. Make your case. No, I'm definitely not sure about risking my career over this. Well, this conversation's made me feel like a proper monster. But you're right. In a perfect world, tech like this is used for good. But this world is far from perfect. It is. It really is. For years, my only focus has been, is this possible? And then, how do I make it work? I never stopped to consider if it was right, or what it would mean. I guess it'll be up to a vote either way. It's not on the meeting agenda, so I assume you'll bring it up yourself? We just have to hope the others will see reason. So the next question is, what will the fate of Infinity Ltd be? I'd like to acquire them, although it won't break my heart if we don't. Faye may have stepped over a line in her attempt to replicate my work, but she's a brilliant engineer. I'm very curious to see what else she may have been working on and dig into her research. Exactly. Not that I want to gloat over it. Maybe just a little. Okay, so DeMarcus and I have really been looking forward to it, so fingers crossed this deal goes through. Well, this has certainly been the most interesting conversation of my day. All we can do now is look forward to the meeting, right? See you in there. Ooh, look at that. Your surgical wound's healing like a dream.
I wish marketing was more creativity and less statistics.
Is Misako checking up on me to make sure I'm on her side? Because that's what I do. You want something in this business? You don't pull any punches. The only real question is just how persuasive she asked you to be. Well, you can let Misako know to rest easy. It just so happens that her agenda lines up with mine. We just need to grab Infinity Ltd while it's got the public's full attention. I'm all about free PR, especially when it's painting us in a good light. Infinity is that sad company in distress with thousands of employees terrified of their futures right now. We are the warm embrace of security coming to rescue them. The only downsides are the unknowns. Lyndon and Alexis are gonna have a lot on their hands. Not that I'm getting off easy. Whatever they find, if it hits the public, that's gonna fall on my shoulders too. I'm sure I can squeeze enough goodwill out of this to last us at least a year. The consumer is our lifeblood, so capturing their wants and desires, of course, it's all I care about. I'm sure I wouldn't be in this position today if it wasn't. Well, you have my attention. Of course, which is why I know it requires some very delicate handling. But unlike Alexis, I believe we can get the proper restrictions and regulations in place to have a marketable product. We do it every day with weapons we arm ourselves and our ships with. The possible backlash on tech like this is not lost on me. However, the internal neuroamp will define the next era of tech. With Ryujin at the forefront, it's not an opportunity you just walk away from. Not when you word it like that. But a product that can settle disputes or help broaden someone's point of view? Then you really have something that consumers will buy into. Well, it seems your talents really do stretch beyond just being an operative. Good talk. Maybe I'll even consult you on future endeavors.
You operatives really will wear anything. Just the person I wanted to see. I want to get all the details locked down for this meeting, and I believe you to be one of the best sources available. Good. I prefer first-hand feedback when available. You've had the chance to encounter members of Infinity Ltd. Throughout your assignments here. Do you think they're worth redemption? And why? Saving the jobs of thousands is altruistic, which is not a luxury corporations have. It's a financial burden. It would be a huge undertaking on my part. That is a plea more well spent on Genevieve or Alexis. I prefer to focus on the numbers and leave emotions out of my decision-making. Perhaps I wanted to see if I could be convinced otherwise. It's easy to say, it's the right thing to do for someone in your position. But for me, Infinity Ltd. Is a huge financial unknown. It's high risk versus mediocre reward. You struck me as a quick thinker. Too bad. This is true. Infinity never had the financial resources to match our salary offers. Getting what few capable employees they have at half the salary we typically pay here could have major payoffs in the long run. Next question. What is your opinion on how Masako handled the mole situation? And why do you feel it was well handled? Please note I'm not disagreeing. I just want to know the why behind your statement. Being prepared for anything is a great asset, one that Masako excels at. I appreciate the insight. I suppose I should ask if there's anything I can do for you, considering how helpful you've been. It's the next big step for Ryujin Industries. Financially, it'll keep us secure for years to come. There's no doubt it's our future. It's only dangerous to those who can't afford one, hence the added motivation that will bolster sales. The guarantee depends on if we're willing to make the financial commitment to outfitting each employee with at least a shielding component. A cost that's not lost on me as CFO. I think we all know how averse I am to chaos. Finances are my forte, so you make a good point. Our competition has yet to truly master neuroamps, but the possibility is there. It's a risk I am unwilling to take. At this time. This has been rather enlightening for me. I appreciate the time.
Did Masako send you to try and convince me to acquire Infinity Ltd? I think we both know that's not going to work. Our public perception is good enough. If you ask me, reaching out to save Infinity just makes us look weak. The internal neuroamp gives us the power to crush our competitors, not take them under our wing. This is exactly why Masako's time as CEO is finished. Good. If you use that neuroamp wisely, it will guarantee that Infinity gets shut down. The corporate world will hear SSNN's story and believe Ryujin exposed Infinity because they stole from us. It sends a strong message. But acquiring Infinity could be interpreted as a safety net. Infinity tried to screw us over, yet they still survived. We need to be sending a much stronger message. If you mess with Ryujin, we'll shut you down. Period. I'm losing patience. Well, it does make Ryujin look good. And we do gain a wider customer base, which means higher profits. You're oddly right about this one, Op. I guess you are worth keeping around. As long as everyone has Ryujin's best interests in mind, this should make for an interesting meeting. An issue? That would be a foolish move. Dalton and Alexis are the only two against it. You'd never get the rest to shut it down. Dangerous indeed. For all I know, you're using it right now. The irony. Perhaps I didn't see it earlier, but you're right. The moment a competitor reverse engineers Vina's work, it'll be chaos. The last thing I want is to have my brain scrambled because some engineer didn't do their due diligence. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have a lot of preparations to make.
Don't wander into any restricted areas.
Don't cause any trouble.
All right, everyone. As you all know, we've successfully exposed Infinity Ltd's botched human trials and murder for hire through SSNN. The public is demanding their leadership, namely Lucas Drexler, face trial, and he's probably writing his resignation as we speak. Ryujin will be launching a statement, but I believe now is the perfect time to acquire Infinity Ltd.
Believe it or not, I agree. The acquisition has risks, and it's going to create a lot of work for all of us. But the overall payoff will be worth it.
That and Infinity Ltd's current situation makes them more affordable than ever.
Arguments? None? Excellent. Moving on, then.
I think what we're all overlooking is what led us to this situation to begin with. Yes, our security was compromised. But considering Dalton was hired by Masako, the issue obviously starts at the top. In fact, I propose that Masako be removed from CEO altogether.
Ularu, this isn't a line you want to cross.
And considering you're the mole, if anyone's going to be removed from power, it's going to be you.
Hold up. Are you saying you lied to us?
Dalton, the last meeting we had, you distinctly said Imogene was the mole, and she'd been dealt with.
Do you even have any proof to back up this outrageous claim?
Of course we do. The malicious code you hid on this slate to upload incriminating evidence against Masako onto Lucas Drexler's computer.
To put it bluntly, Ularu, you're fired. Security will hold you in your office until a proper exit interview can be done.
This isn't right. I should at least have the opportunity to resign.
And allow you to still be marketable to a competitor? I don't think so. This may be news to me, and I will be reviewing the evidence closely. But this isn't something you just get to walk away from.
Security, escort Miss Chen to her office and see that she stays put.
You'll regret this. All of you.
I believe the only regret would be trusting you to begin with.
All right, back to business. All in favor of acquiring Infinity Ltd?
Aye.
Good. Alexis, start drawing up the necessary documentation. Anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up? Pay attention. The internal neuroamp is a key component of Ryujin Industries' success for the next 10 years, if not more. Why would we shelve it after we've finally perfected it?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's right. Regardless of the pros, the cons are too morally and ethically irresponsible to move forward with.
I must agree. We can't go through with production on technology like this until certain safeties can be guaranteed.
Very well. All in favor of shelving Project Dominion?
Aye.
All against?
Nay.
Vina, prep Project Dominion for storage. Any other matters to bring forth? None? This concludes our order of business for today.
If only there were more hours in the day.
You're looking interesting today.
Shelving the internal neuroamp. Not the outcome I anticipated. A fine point, but it still proves its usefulness. The truth remains, Lucas Drexler learned a hard lesson, and we exposed a traitor among us. You've proven yourself to be quite the asset here at Ryujin. I suppose it is. Gratitude isn't something you typically hear these days in the corporate world. I truly appreciate the work you put into exposing Ularu. No operative has ever had to investigate our own to the extent that you did. I can imagine it may have been a lot of pressure, considering you were fairly new at the time. Not often, and certainly not to this degree. We have the occasional employee consider selling information, but thanks to our security and operations teams, we always catch them before any damage can be done. This was the first time anyone from either department was involved. Imogene's instincts were right about you. Now, as promised, I have your bonus. I hope you'll find it appropriate for all you've done. And I'm promoting you to senior operative. You've more than earned it. It's well deserved. As for the details, I think someone back on the operations floor would prefer to explain those to you.
out of my way, and I'll keep out of yours.
I'm a little busy right now.
You've certainly shaken things up around here. I still can't believe Ularu tried to frame me. An obvious misjudgment on my part. But now that's all in the past. It's time to get back to your typical day-to-day. Of course, if you think anyone here believes in downtime, forget it. And I'd say it's good to be back if I hadn't returned to a mountain of paperwork. Now, since you were new, you've been dealing with people, but most of our assignments are generated on the mission board. The board holds any available assignments that our techs have pieced together, and I've approved. Questions? I wish. Assignment approval isn't exactly riveting work. With your promotion, you've earned yourself an office, so whenever you're ready, you can find your own personal mission board inside. And the best perk of them all, you're free to make your own hours. Oh, and congratulations, of course. At this point, I wouldn't doubt it. Go check out the board, and if you have any questions, I suppose I can start up an open door policy. Just for you.
Can I help you?
Welcome to UC Space. Maintain your current course while we scan your ship's cargo. Scan complete. You are cleared to land at New Atlantis.
You need something?
Of all the places in the galaxy, only Neon can make me feel so damn oily. And you dealt with its absolute worst. Ryujin, Infinity LTD, all of it. You doing all right? That was a lot. Well, it just makes you human. How come no matter how advanced society gets, we still just can't help coming up with new horrors to inflict on ourselves? Mechs, xeno-warfare, and now this neuroamp tech. I swear it's the worst yet. Thank God you put a stop to it. Amen to that. With a piece of work like Ryujin, I know there isn't a good person to put in charge. I mean, I guess Masako's better than Ularu Chen, but you just know if violence or being just plain evil was the path of least resistance, then Masako would pick it same as Ularu. You're right. I know you're right. Well, the whole damned affair is over. Thank God. Love, you make every day special. Every minute with you is a gift. Truly. You see, you make me sound like a greeting card. Another day in paradise with you. But time to get back to work. Today's a peach of a day. Oh, well, if you must.
again. I was uncertain you would return.
I've occasionally had my doubts about Constellation as an investment.
What did you need?
Well, it's clearly money well spent.
Feel free to help yourself at the bar. I don't drink, but I feel like if I did, now would be a good time for one.
Captain, I am fully updated and ready to assist with tasks.
That your ship that landed not too long ago? Sure is something.
Hey, Sarah's friend. You come to enlist at long last? Start earning your stripes with the Vanguard? Well, all right. Take the elevator down to the Vanguard Orientation Hall. You can get started at any of the registration terminals. The system will walk you through the rest. And if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Registration accepted. You may now proceed through the historical displays in the orientation hall, or continue on to the examination.
In 2150, humanity learned the Earth's magnetosphere would collapse sometime in the next half-century, eliminating all life on the planet. Decisive action was required, but the secure transport of an entire civilization would demand a new kind of cooperation, a new kind of courage, and a new kind of union. Thus, in 2159, the United Colonies were formed to make that journey possible. Just 1 year later, the Galileo, the first of many colony ships, touched down here on Jemison, beginning a new era of human history, the age of the United Colonies.
This assignment isn't glamorous, but it sure beats patrols.
From their foundation, the United Colonies strove to provide all their citizens with opportunity, security, and peace. But there were those among the UC that still wanted something more: independence. So in 2161, the UC issued the Centaurus Proclamation, granting UC citizens the right to settle distant worlds and form their own sovereign powers. It wasn't long before the first new faction, the Free Star Collective, was formally organized in 2188, later followed by House Varun, revealing themselves to the universe in 2230. It was only in 2230 that the faction known as House Varun first made contact with the rest of the settled systems. Founded by the passengers of a colony ship that had left New Atlantis and disappeared 4 decades earlier, House Varun was a faction unlike any other. A theocracy dedicated wholly to the beliefs of its isolationist founder, Janan Varun. House Varun initially made overtures of peace towards the rest of the settled systems. They claimed their only intention was to spread the word of their god, the Great Serpent. But none could have guessed that this worship might take the form of a bloody war, the Serpent's Crusade. The Freestar Collective was initially founded in 2188, when the citizens of Aquila banded together with the pleasure city of Neon in mutual defense. But in 2194, after the deployment of a UC medical star station in orbit around their world, the citizens of Narion also requested to join the collective. The resulting rise in tensions between the Freestar Collective and UC culminated in the settled system's first intergalactic conflict, the Narion War. Despite a decisive victory by the UC, the colonies permitted the citizens of Narion to join the collective, forming the basis for the fiercely independent union that persists to this day. Beginning in 2240, House House Varun forces declared all-out war on the rest of human civilization, initiating the Serpent's Crusade. Over the next 23 years, thousands of Freestar, UC, and independent souls were killed by agents of House Varun in the name of their Serpent God. It was only with the death of their founder in 2263 and the succession of his heir, Jarek, that House Varun finally sued for peace. There remains, however, select members of House Varun who refuse to recognize the cessation of hostilities their leaders established. Even after House Varun's mysterious disappearance, these zealots remain a threat to all who encounter them. Their pacification, a goal of all space. Of the many conflicts between the galaxy's factions, none was more brutal than the recent colony war between the UC and the Freestar Collective. Set off by the unauthorized Freestar colonization of Vesta's Pride in 2308, a direct violation of the Nerion Treaty, the colony war spread quickly across the galaxy. Both sides deployed every tool at their disposal. Armadas of warships, mechanized combat platforms, or mechs, even bioengineered alien creatures, the infamous UC xeno-weapons. It was only in 2311 at the Battle of Cheyenne that the scales finally tipped. The Freestar Collective, utilizing their civilian fleet as a human shield, successfully crippled the superior United Colonies Navy. After their shocking victory against the galaxy's greatest navy, the Freestar Collective offered terms of peace, which the colonies, out of an interest in staving off any further human costs, accepted. The galaxy has been rebuilding ever since. Few settled worlds were left untouched by the colony war. But nowhere could the viciousness of modern warfare be seen more clearly than on the Freestar planet of Nira. Initially occupied by invading United Colonies forces as a forward operating position, repeated attempts to take and retake the planet by collective forces led only to devastation. Swaths of the world were transformed into scorched husks, a nightmarish testament to the depths of human ingenuity and human cruelty. And today, Nira remains a continuing reminder to the horrors of unfettered war. In the midst of the colony war, a different kind of tragedy struck the UC city of Londinian. A newly constructed but critical supply center for the United Colonies' war effort, Londinian found itself overrun by one of the galaxy's most mysterious predators, the Terramorph. A rare but pervasive threat to all human-settled worlds, Terramorphs swept over the city, seemingly out of nowhere, on a scale never before seen in recorded history. Valiant efforts by the UC military slowed the onslaught, but the creatures proved unstoppable. Ultimately, the decision was made to destroy the Londinian spaceport, sealing off the city, the outbreak, and its citizenry from the galaxy at large. The tragedy of Londinian is mourned by the UC to this day.
know it was some UC general that condemned Londinium? Gave it over to these things.
All 4 of my
One of
last
these
science
murals
papers
said
have
he
been
was
on
executed
terrorists.
after the war. Might have gotten off too lightly.
After the devastation wrought by the Colony War, the UC and the Freestar Collective came together to ratify a treaty that became known as the Armistice. Both sides agreed to a vast reduction in standing forces, and that xeno-weapons and mech warfare would be outlawed. All related research was sealed away, accessible only in cases of dire emergency. But the Collective had another demand, that the active commanders of the UC military stand trial for their actions. The United Colonies, in the interest of peace and galactic security, agreed. In 2311, 3 United Colonies senior officers were found guilty. Commander Henry Durant, General Indira Rastogi, and Fleet Admiral Francois Sanon, known better as Ve Victus. All were sentenced to death for their actions, bringing the colony war to a close and returning peace to the galaxy at long last. It was into this new world that the Vanguard was born. An official branch of the UC Navy, the Vanguard is the United Colonies Volunteer Fleet, serving a myriad of security, logistical, and reconnaissance roles. And after a sufficient length of service, UC citizenship is guaranteed to every Vanguard member. Open to all captains, regardless of origin, the Vanguard is leading the charge to protect and support the citizens of the United Colonies, wherever in the galaxy they may be. No one is born a United Colony citizen. Only through service to the UC can one hope to earn one's citizenship. But the UC prides itself on taking care of its people. Cost of living controls mean citizens pay less than their foreign counterparts for needs big and small. All citizens are issued a grant upon joining to get themselves on their feet. And only UC citizens have the opportunity to purchase property, getting the chance to live in one of the most beautiful cities in the settled systems. By joining the Vanguard today, you too can begin earning your place here, in the heart of galactic civilization, as a citizen of the United Colonies.